Have you ever felt your world tilt beneath your feet, the ground so familiar it suddenly feels like quicksand? I whisper into the darkness as I hold my breath, staring at the sleek black rectangle, cradled in my palm. It's not the phone I know, ours shared open, the one I see every morning. Beside his coffee mug, this one is smaller, unbranded, screen cracked at the corner and covered in fingerprints that aren't mine. My husband said I was crazy for not trusting him after I found his hidden phone. But I know better now. I should have noticed months ago the way he drained his drink the moment I passed by the counter, the furtive glances he shot at the dog's water bowl where he claimed he dropped an old SIM card, the odd occasions when his work phone went silent for days. But love makes you blind. Or at least I thought it did, until tonight. It began with a misplaced charger cable. I was straightening up our home office, dusting off the monitor, sorting through last week's bills, when I spotted it, a micro USB charger plugged into the back of his locked filing cabinet. That cabinet has only my tax returns and his business receipts. I'd never seen a phone cable hooked up there. Curiosity pried my hand away from the document I was filing, and I tugged the cable. On the carpet beside the drawers lay a black phone face down. My pulse rattled. It wasn't his company-issued phone. This one had no logos, no wallpaper when I flipped it on. Just a lock screen prompt. I pressed the power button. The pin field blinked. My husband had never asked me to memorize his codes, but I guessed them all. Birthdays, anniversaries, pet names. None worked. Then I remembered the only other code he'd once muttered in frustration, the last 4 digits of his high school locker, 1738. It slid open. My breath whooshed out. Inside were messages, rows of them, names I didn't recognize. Late-night texts at 2 a.m. Emoticons flirtier than good evenings shared at home. I tapped Manda and saw lines like, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow, Red Heart," and "You looked amazing tonight in that dress, winking face." I scrolled through dozens of exchanges, poetry at dawn, weekend rendezvous, photos of her, legs draped across his captain's chair, stomach churning, tears pricking. I knew I had to see more. My hands shook as I flicked through other threads. A Jess, who seemed to be the wife from his hometown. A work group chat that was anything but. Each name a secret life I'd never known. Stories written late at night in digital ink. Beneath the surface of my marriage lurked someone else's world. I sat on the floor, heart hammering, trying to steady myself. How had I missed this? How could he stare into my face every day, claim he loved me, and keep these clandestine conversations alive? The betrayal stung like salt in a wound. Pulling myself together, I pocketed the phone and replaced the charger cable, heart pounding. I couldn't let him see me found it. He already thinks I'm irrational when I ask where he's been at. Midnight. I grabbed my own phone and sent him a text from the bedroom. "Can we talk?" "Now." He replied, in 10 Han, "Everything okay?" His Han felt like salt on the cut. I curled up on our bed, the sheets cool against my skin, and waited. 10 minutes later, he walked in, brushing back his hair. His eyes darkened when he saw me, concern, fatigue, something unreadable. "What's wrong?" he asked, voice gentle. My pulse throbbed. I held up the black phone like evidence in a trial. "Explain this," I said, voice trembling but determined. His jaw clenched. He stepped toward me. "Sarah, that's not what you think," he began. His tone was a rehearsed calm, too calm. "It's a burner for work calls." I cornered him with my gaze. "Then why the flirty messages? Why the secret contacts?" I showed him a screenshot. Can't stop thinking about you. He looked away. I swallowed, fighting tears. You've been lying to me. My words echoed in the hush. This phone, the late nights, the empty excuses. I deserve the truth. He rubbed his neck, the light-catching sweat at his hairline. Then he sighed, the tension easing. From his shoulders. I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. His voice cracked. It's not an affair. He paused, as if choosing words from a minefield. Her name is Amanda. She's been my client. She has a rare condition, cardiac arrhythmia. I set up a burner to talk to her. Discreetly, because her family pressures her about confidentiality. My heart eased slightly, only to sting again with suspicion. So you'll tell me every detail now? I challenged. I want to see those medical records. Names, dates, transcripts. Everything. My voice was cold, demanding. He closed his eyes. No, that's private. Doctor-patient confidentiality. I can't share that. His boundaries slammed into mine like walls. You can't invade her privacy. I flinched. I invaded yours. I retorted. To protect my marriage. I slid off the bed, pacing. Either I get answers or we end this now. He watched me, hurt in his eyes. Please, trust me. I'm doing the right thing. I stopped. Trust you? After this. My voice shook. You turned to secrets instead of me. He stepped forward, voice quiet. I panicked when Dr. Huang told me she was at risk. I thought, if I brought you into her world, you'd think I was corrupt, caring for a patient on the side without authority. I was stupid, but I did it to help. My chest heaved. Part of me wanted to believe him. He's a compassionate man, a doctor to his core. But the flirty emojis, the gifts, the dinner plans, it all felt too personal for professional concern. Tears welled. Then prove it. Show me your notes, your treatment plan. Call her, or have her. Call me. Let me hear her voice explain. He shook his head. I can't break confidentiality. His voice was firm, resolute. I'll lose my license. I swallowed, anger and pity warring. So our marriage's trust means less than your career. He exhaled, eyes solemn. No, it means I can't betray a patient's trust. I'm torn between two vows. In the silence, I realized the chasm between us. He chooses professional ethics over marital honesty. I demand personal transparency at any cost. We stood like opposing generals on a war-torn field of secrets. I backed toward the door, heart pounding. I need time, I said, voice hollow. I can't stay in a marriage where I'm last in the order of trust. He reached for me. Sarah. But I stepped out into the hallway, tears blurring my vision. Call me if you decide to come. Clean, I said over my shoulder and walked out, leaving him and that hidden phone behind. I spent the rest of the night at my sister's, the cool air of her guest room offering a fragile refuge. Alone, I replayed our argument, wondering if I'd swung too far into suspicion or if his excuses were crystalline truth. Before dawn, I drafted a plan, clarify what confidentiality allows, consult a legal counselor, maybe talk to a hospital ethics board. I texted my friend Camila, who arrived within the hour bearing coffee and resolute calm. We'll figure this out, she promised, guiding me through breathing exercises. By morning, I realized three things. I needed answers, I needed to heal, and I needed to decide. Fight for this marriage, or walk away. The old ground beneath my feet was gone, but before I rebuilt anything with him, I had to uncover every hidden layer. And so, clutching my own phone. Like a lifeline, I prepared for what would be the toughest conversation of my life. I spent the night replaying our fight in my mind, the echo of his last words. I'm torn between two vows, haunting me. By dawn, I knew I couldn't stay silent. I slipped out of bed before Michael woke and texted Camila, "Hey, can you come over? Need backup." 10 minutes later, she was at my door with 2 lattes and a knowing look. I ushered her upstairs. "He says this phone is for a confidential patient, Amanda, with a serious heart condition," I blurted out. "But I don't buy it. Those messages felt too personal." Camila nodded, concern flickering across her face. "We need facts," she said. "First, find out what's really true about this confidentiality claim. Second, protect yourself. Gathering evidence." We began by researching confidentiality laws for doctors. Over my laptop, Camila and I read through the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA guidelines. According to HIPAA, a physician can't disclose patient information without permission, but if I suspect misconduct, like treating a patient outside the hospital's purview, I could file an ethics complaint. "And if it's true," Camila said, "the system will investigate. But if it's false, it'll blow the lid off his lie." 2. The Ethics Board Inquiry. That afternoon, after dropping Claire at school, I sat in my car outside the hospital campus. My hands trembled as I called the hospital's ethics hotline. "Health Tech Memorial," a nurse responded. "Ethics Office." I cleared my throat. "Hi, I'd like to inquire about a potential breach of confidentiality by one of your cardiologists." My voice was steady despite the pounding in my chest. I explained that Dr. Reed, my husband, was allegedly using a personal phone to communicate privately with a patient, and I wondered about the hospital's policies. "May I have the doctor's full name?" the nurse asked. "Michael Reed," I said. "Thank you, Ms. Lane. We'll review your concerns. You may be contacted for further details. All inquiries are confidential." I exhaled, phone trembling in my palm. I'd set the process in motion. 3. Confronting the research. That evening, I returned home as Michael walked in, briefcase in hand, the familiar click of his heels on the parquet floor. I met his eyes at the door. "Did you cancel your plan for tonight?" he asked, surprised. "I did," I replied. "We need to talk." He closed the distance, concern etched on his face. "I left Amanda a VM. She's out of town." "I tried to reach her so you can talk to her." I shook my head. "You still won't give me her last name, her hospital records, or even confirm her diagnosis." He absently ran a hand through his hair. "Doctor-patient confidentiality, I can't." I felt the familiar twist of frustration. "So you'll break our marriage vows to keep those secrets?" He dropped his gaze. "I don't want to lie anymore." I pulled him into the living room, closing the door behind me. "There's a hospital ethics board investigating now," I said, voice careful. "You can't shut me out of your work life when it bleeds into our home life." His eyes widened. "You filed?" "I did. You left me no choice." He ran a hand over his mouth. "I'm scared." I placed my hand on his shoulder. "Me too," I admitted. "But we need to face it, or we'll never trust each other again." 4. Legal advice. That weekend, Camila drove me to an appointment with a healthcare attorney, Linda Morales, whose office smelled of leather-bound case files and strong coffee. I laid out my story, the hidden phone, the flirty-seeming texts, the confidentiality defense, and my ethics inquiry. Linda listened intently. Your husband is protected by doctor-patient confidentiality, but using a hidden phone outside hospital systems could violate both ethics and possibly state laws. If he treated a patient outside his official platform, that's malpractice territory. She tapped her pen. You could subpoena the phone records, but it requires legal action. You have to decide if you want to escalate to a lawsuit or push for transparency first. I nodded, weighing my options. I need to hear from Amanda, I said. She sighed. It's a tough road, but you have the right to know if your husband's professional conduct is compromising your marriage and possibly endangering a patient. A desperate plea. That night, I confronted Michael again. We sat at the kitchen island, lights low. Claire was at her grandparents. I met with a healthcare attorney. I began. They say you could lose your license if you treated someone in secret. This isn't just about our trust. It could ruin your career. His shoulders slumped. I know. His voice echoed in the empty kitchen. I thought I was helping her. I never meant to risk my career or lose you. I clenched my fists. Then help me understand. Give me the facts. Amanda's full name, her records, the dates of treatment, anything. He looked at me, eyes pleading. I can't. It's legally impossible. My heart pounded. Then I'm left believing either you're protecting a patient or hiding something far more personal. He gulped. What if I am protecting something personal? I froze. Then what are you hiding? He exhaled. I was in love with her before medical school. She was my first girlfriend. Amanda texts. Some were professional, follow UPS, but others, they were personal. I couldn't face the guilt. My breath left me. The wound cut deeper. Not a patient, but an ex, my husband's hidden former. Love. 6. The cliffhanger. The revelation hung between us like a knife. I stared at him, stunned. The hidden phone, I realized, wasn't just about work. It was a lifeline to the past he couldn't let go, an affair of memory and regret, disguised as professional confidentiality. I stumbled back. You lied, I whispered. Everything you said tonight is a lie wrapped in partial truths. He stood, raw vulnerability in his eyes. I'm sorry, he said, voice cracking. I didn't know how else to keep her at arm's length and keep you in my life. I backed away, tears stinging. I need to think, I said. And with that, I fled to the sanctuary of the guest room, the hidden phone burning its weight in my pocket. As I shut the door behind me, my world splintered, or perhaps finally cracked wide open. The next step loomed. I had to decide whether to fight for the man who'd buried his past in the shadows, or walk away from the betrayal that now cut deeper than any secret ever could. The phone screen glowed softly in the dark, a reminder that some truths, once uncovered, can change everything. I spent that first night in the guest room ripping through every corner of my mind. The hidden phone, his buried past, the confession that Amanda was an ex, not a patient. By dawn I had a plan. No more secrets, final confrontation, and then the hardest choice of my life, stay and rebuild or walk away. When Michael knocked on the door mid-morning, I didn't respond. My phone buzzed with his text, please, let's work this out. I didn't reply immediately. Instead, I took a long shower, letting the water wash over me as I tried to scrub away the shock. In the mirror, I saw a woman edged with grief, but also edged with resolve. I dressed, chose a calming playlist, and emerged. Michael stood in the hallway, shoulders slumped. I closed the door behind me. Let's talk, I said, voice steady. He nodded. Where? In the living room. We sat on the couch, the air thick with unspoken words. He reached for my hand. I love you, he said. I was a coward, hiding her in that phone. I realize now how much I've hurt you. I looked at him, eyes fierce but sad. You told me the burner was for confidentiality, then you said it was strictly professional, and now you admit it was personal. 3 different lies in one. Weak. He swallowed hard. I'm sorry. I was scared of losing you if I told the truth. I pressed my lips together. Trust is not automatic. It's earned, day by day. He nodded. I know. I want to prove it. I inhaled the morning light filtering through the window. We're going to counseling together. And you're going solo, too. His face fell, then he nodded resolutely. I'll do anything. I maintained firm eye contact. We need a clear timeline. 6 months of weekly couples therapy. And you'll complete individual sessions to unpack your feelings for her. No contact with Amanda. Delete the number, delete the phone. He exhaled, relief and determination mingling in his gaze. Agreed. I leaned forward. And we need transparency. Shared phone passwords, shared calendar. Weekly check-ins where we talk about how we feel and what we need. No more secrets. He smiled, a tentative spark returning. I can do that. I felt the tension ease just a fraction. Then let's start today. I've booked an appointment with Dr. Patel, pragmatic, experienced in infidelity recovery. Our first session is tomorrow at 7 p.m. He exhaled a breath I knew he'd been holding. Thank you for giving me this chance. I allowed a small nod. We'll see where it goes. The first therapy session. In Dr. Patel's warm, softly lit office, we faced each other across a round table. She invited us to share our perspectives. I spoke first. I felt betrayed, disrespected, and afraid. I don't know if I can ever trust him again. Michael's voice trembled. I betrayed your trust and lied. I've realized how selfish I was. I want to understand the roots of my fear and shame. Dr. Patel guided us through a trust-rebuilding exercise, rebuilding a bridge one plank at a time. We each listed 5 actions to rebuild trust. Mine, listening without accusation, acknowledging. My healing process, his, transparent communication, open calendar access, no secrecy. We left drained but hopeful, our first plank laid, however wobbly. Individual therapy. Michael's first solo session with Dr. Chen, a grief specialist, focused on his feelings for Amanda and guilt over his past. He confronted his lingering attachment, old grief for lost relationships, and shame that drove his secrecy. Dr. Chen gave him coping strategies, journaling, anxiety management, and clear boundaries to honor his marriage. Meanwhile, I began my own therapy with Dr. Lee, specializing in betrayal trauma. I processed my shock, anger, and grief. I learned to articulate my needs, set boundaries, and practice self-compassion. I journaled daily, feelings, triggers, progress. Cutting the ties. 2 weeks later, Michael returned the burner phone to me, placed it on the kitchen counter, and pressed delete all. He showed me his blank sent folder and said, "No more secrets." I exhaled, relief mingling with residual fear. He updated his business contacts in our shared phone. I updated my password privacy settings. Rebuilding rituals. We created daily check-ins. Each morning over coffee, we share our emotional temperature, discuss plans, and list potential stressors. Every Friday, we have date and reflect, dinner out, or in, then a 15-minute recap of the week's successes and challenges. We use I feel statements to avoid blame. We also began transparency nights on Wednesdays, screen-free time where we talk, read, or cook together, no devices allowed. A critical test. One night, a text buzzed from an unknown number. My heart fluttered, old fears stirring. Michael reached for his phone. He showed me. It was a wrong number from a pharmacy. He let me read the entire thread. "See," he said, voice earnest. "Nothing secret here." I nodded, the familiar panic easing. "Thank you for letting me see." 6-month review. 6 months into our plan, we sat in Dr. Patel's office again. She asked how we felt. I said, "My trust is fragile, but it's growing. I feel more secure seeing Michael's open communication and consistent actions." Michael said, "I feel proud of the progress we've made. I've learned transparency doesn't diminish intimacy, it deepens it." Dr. Patel smiled. "You've built a stronger foundation. Remember, trust requires maintenance. Keep your rituals alive." We left hand in hand, the clinic's afternoon light warm on our faces. Renewal of commitment. That evening, Michael surprised me with a simple ceremony in our backyard. He'd strung fairy lights, laid soft blankets, and lit 2 candles. He held a small booklet, Our Vows of Truth. He read aloud, "I promise to honor you with honesty, to share my world openly, to choose vulnerability over secrecy, to safeguard our trust with every word." He opened the vow book for me. My voice trembled yet rang true. "I promise to hold space for your healing, to listen without judgment, to practice patience as we rebuild, to cherish our truth above all." We closed the booklet together, candles flickering like whispered prayers. He pressed a kiss to my forehead. "I love you. I love you more," I whispered back. The ongoing journey. Months have passed since my discovery. Trust isn't binary. It's a spectrum we traverse daily. Some days, I still feel a flicker of doubt at the memory of hidden messages. But each morning's check-in, each shared laugh, and each token of transparency, like the time Michael surprised me by adding my favorite playlist to our shared music app, reaffirms our bond. We also volunteer at a community support group for spouses of healthcare professionals, sharing our story, how secrecy nearly broke us, and how honesty became our lifeline. The conversations are raw, the tears real, but in that authenticity we find collective healing. At night, as we drift to sleep, I feel his arm around me, steady and sure. The husband who once hid behind a secret phone is now a partner who opens every door, literally and figuratively. And, as I close my eyes, I know that while trust can be fractured, it can also be reforged, stronger, more resilient, and more deeply rooted than before.